The rusted hull of the freighter groaned as it breached the upper layers of Earth's atmosphere. Its once pristine exterior was now a tapestry of dents, scorch marks, and haphazard welds. To the untrained eye, it was a relic of a bygone era, a derelict that should have been left to rot in the scrapyards. But to those aboard, it was a weapon, a statement of defiance against an enemy that sought to erase humanity from existence. Captain Eliza Voss stood on the bridge, her boots planted firmly on the steel floor as she surveyed the motley crew around her. Engineers, mechanics, and scavengers worked tirelessly at their stations, their faces illuminated by flickering displays and the occasional spark from a failing console. These were not soldiers, they were survivors. And this ship, the Resolute, was their lifeline. "Incoming transmission," called out Jace, the ship's communications officer. He was young, barely 20, with a scar running from his temple to his jaw, a reminder of the day the Krell destroyed his home. He adjusted the cracked headset on his ear and patched the signal through. "Resolute, this is Admiral Langford aboard the Vanguard. The Krell Armada is en route. Report to the designated coordinates and prepare for engagement." Eliza acknowledged the order with a curt nod. "Understood, Admiral. We'll be there." Jace cut the transmission, and the bridge fell silent. All eyes turned to Eliza. She knew what they were thinking. The Resolute was not a warship. It was a patchwork of salvaged parts, barely held together by sheer will and a prayer. But it was all they had. "You heard the man," Eliza said, her voice steady. "We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone who's still planetside, everyone who can't fight back." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crew. It wasn't much, but it was enough. The Resolute joined the rest of the fleet at the designated coordinates, a desolate stretch of space near Jupiter's orbit. The human ships were a ragtag collection of military vessels, retrofitted cargo ships, and reanimated relics like the Resolute. Against the backdrop of the Krell Armada, they looked like toys. The Krell ships emerged from hyperspace in a wave of dark, angular forms. Each vessel bristled with weapons, their sleek designs a stark contrast to humanity's makeshift fleet. The Krell had always underestimated humans, dismissing their resourcefulness as desperation. Today, they would learn the cost of that arrogance. "Shields up! All power to forward thrusters!" Eliza barked. The crew sprang into action, their movements honed by months of drills and desperation. The first volley from the Krell ships lit up the darkness, streaks of energy tearing through the void. Several human ships were obliterated in an instant, their deaths marked by brief, brilliant explosions. But the fleet pressed on. The Resolute weaved through the chaos, its makeshift armor absorbing hits that would have crippled more advanced ships. Eliza barked orders, her voice cutting through the cacophony of alarms and shouts. Each command was a calculated risk, each maneuver a gamble. But this was where she thrived, on the edge of chaos, where every second counted. "Target their flagship," Eliza ordered. "If we take it out, we might break their formation." Jace hesitated. "Captain, our weapons can't pierce their shields." Eliza's lips curled into a grim smile. "Then we'll make our own opening." She turned to the engineering console. "Leah, I need you to overload the reactor." The chief engineer's eyes widened. "That's suicide. Not if we time it right. Divert all non-essential power to the forward cannon. When I give the signal, we'll fire everything we've got." Leah hesitated, then nodded. "Aye, Captain." The Resolute charged toward the Krell flagship, its battered hull deflecting incoming fire with a mix of brute force and sheer luck. The rest of the fleet followed suit, drawing enemy fire away from the Resolute as it made its suicidal charge. "Ready now!" Eliza shouted. Leah hit the switch, and the Resolute's forward cannon roared to life. A blinding beam of energy lanced out, striking the Krell flagship's shield. The shield held for a moment, then flickered and failed. The beam tore through the ship's hull, igniting a chain reaction that consumed the vessel in a fiery explosion. The Krell formation wavered. Their ships faltered, their once-coordinated attacks descending into chaos. The human fleet seized the opportunity, pressing the advantage with a ferocity born of desperation. The battle raged for hours, each side taking heavy losses. But in the end, it was humanity's unyielding resolve that turned the tide. The Krell Armada shattered, their ships retreating into hyperspace, leaving behind a graveyard of wreckage. On the bridge of the Resolute, Eliza slumped into her chair, exhaustion etched into her features. The ship was barely holding together, its systems on the brink of failure. But they had won. Jace let out a shaky laugh. They'll never call us scrap metal again. Eliza managed a faint smile. No, they won't. Around her, the crew erupted into cheers, their voices echoing through the battered halls of the Resolute. Against all odds, they had defied the Krell and emerged victorious. And in the quiet moments that followed, as the ship limped back toward Earth, Eliza allowed herself a moment of hope. Humanity had survived. For now, that was enough.